What's good, my lovely peoples? It's your main man, Solace here, the wise one. Now, today I want to do this video discussing meteor showers. Now, some of y'all may feel like meteor showers is not an interesting topic, but it's very interesting and it's very informative. It's a very deep video, so just watch it straight through. Now, before I get into the video, I want to address this question that a young brother asked me earlier today. He messaged me. Now, as all y'all know, I teach the sperm is the spirit, and that the life is within the life. So before conception, and you living in this existence that you live in now, you weren't in some spiritual, magical world. You were a cell within your father's body. And we know where sperm cells come from. They come from men. And the sperm cell was conscious, and it had its life. So you have to grasp. Everybody that you see is a sperm cell that got an egg. So the life that you was living in, or the world you were living in prior to this one, would have been within your mother's womb. And prior to living in your mother's womb, the world you would have been living in would have been your father's body. So the young man's question was, basically he told me, I grasped the sperm is the spirit. So prior to us being cells within our father's body, we would have been cells within our grandfather's body. Now, that's completely wrong, and that's disgusting. I want to say that first. That is disgusting. Because the only way you would have been a cell in your grandfather's body and then went to your father's body is if your grandfather was having sex with your father, and that's disgusting. So just get that out your mind and understand that it's just like I say, y'all don't grasp the sperm is the spirit for some reason. I don't know why. But I'm the one teaching it, so the problem lies with me. But for some reason, y'all are not grasping it. Now, I want to say to the young man, prior to you being a sperm cell within your father's body, you was not a cell within your grandfather's body. Prior to you being a cell within your father's body, you was an atom within a cell within your father's body. So grasp that. The life is within the life, like Pandora's box. You're not flip-flopping around from bodies to body. The only reason you went into your mother's body was so that you can get a body for yourself, so that you could live in the world that your mother lives in. It's called ascending through the life, going from the micro to the macro. But no, you was not a cell in your grandfather's body. You did not exist in your grandfather's body or anybody's body prior to your father's. Your life began in your father's body. So it's a simple thing. But the ascent all took place within his body, meaning the atom left the cell to become a cell. Then the cell left the man to become a man. So it's a simple thing, but I'll have to figure out another way to explain the sperm is the spirit. Now, let me get into this video basically discussing meteor showers. Now, if you're a stargazer or someone who dibbles and dabbles in astronomy, then you know that meteor showers happen multiple times a year. So this is not something that happens once in a blue. This happens multiple times a year. And just like meteorologists forecast the weather, you have people that forecast meteor showers. So in April 2017, we have one coming up called the Lyrid shower. This will happen in April. Then in May, we have the Eta Aquarid shower. Then in August, we have the Perseid shower. And there's more, but I'm not going to waste my time naming them all. I just wanted to show you that meteor showers happen multiple times a year. And depending on where you are in the earth, you can see them with your naked eye, just shooting all around through the sky. And it's a very deep thing that we have to grasp. Now, the question is, what is a meteor shower? And a meteor shower is basically star sex. It's a deep thing. is basically sex on the macro. So you have to understand whatever's happening on our level of life is happening on the micro level of the life, and it's happening on the macro level of the life also. So it's a deep thing. Cells have sex, organisms on our level of life have sex, and the same thing happens in the macro. So you have to grasp. When you see certain things, you have to know what they are, just from knowing what goes on in your world, because as above, so below. So when you see a meteor shower, what you're seeing is star sex. Now, stars are living beings just like us, but we call them stars because of the perception of how we see it, being as though we are micro in comparison to a star. So it's a deep thing you have to grasp. Now, let me get my pad because I'm going to break down something very important to y'all. Now, when a meteor shower happens, this is basically sperm cells on the macro searching for the egg. And you may get a conception. Now, the way you'll know if there was a conception that happened on the macro is when you see a rainbow. So we like to tie rainbows with rain, but rainbows are really tied to meteor showers. And this is when you know conception happened, when you see the rainbow. Hold on, I want to show y'all a picture of it. May help you to grasp better. Now, in my book, The Sperm is the Spirit, I have a picture of conception taking place on the macro. And it's a deep thing that I want y'all to see. I believe it's in this book. But when you see a rainbow, okay, there it goes. This is what meteor showers look like. Hopefully it's clear, and these are sperm cells getting an egg, and this is meteor showers going around planets and things of this nature. So now you have to grasp, when you see a rainbow, that means conception happened on the macro. Now we have to understand, scientists in the future will discover that after meteor showers, 9 months later, you will have a conception or a star being born on the macro. But you must grasp the difference in time. Macro time is the same as our time, but it's different because the size is different. So we have to grasp that. So in order for you to understand what I am saying now, meaning in order for you to understand that meteor showers is sperm cells searching for eggs on the macro, and a conception will happen 9 months, a star will be born 9 months after that meteor shower if conception happens. You can't count 9 months in our time because macro time is bigger, but it's the same process of time. Just like micro cells within you, their time is the same as yours, but their size is different, so the time is different. So you have to have a perspective and know the differences in macro time and micro time. And lucky for y'all, I know the difference. I'm going to break it down for y'all right now. Now, you have to understand, we have seconds. This is where time begins, with seconds. So now we have seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the cells within our bodies, which are micro, they have seconds also. The stars up above, the macro, they have seconds also. And it's the same seconds, but the size of the second, or the amount of time of the second, is different according to the size of life. So now we have seconds. In the life that's, the smaller life that's one level under us, has milliseconds. So grasp, we have seconds. The smaller life that's one level under us has milliseconds. Then you have microseconds. So now I want to break something down to y'all on a milliseconds level so that y'all can grasp the difference in time. So that if you see a meteor shower, you won't be counting 9 months after that meteor shower in our time thinking, oh, a star should be born. No, a star should be born 9 months in macro time. So I'm going to break down the difference in time. Now, 1 of our seconds is equal to 16 minutes in milliseconds. Now you have to grasp, a millisecond is 1,000th of 1 of our seconds. So if you take 1 of our seconds and you break it down into 1,000 pieces, this is what a millisecond would be, 1 of those pieces. So you have to grasp, 1 of our seconds is equal to 16 minutes in the millilife. In a millimeter life, in their size, in their aspect of things, 1 of our seconds would be 16 of their minutes. Now, 4 of our seconds would be an hour or so in the millilife. 1.5 minutes for us would be a whole day for a millimeter-sized life. Now, 10.5 minutes for us would be a whole week for a millimeter-sized life. 42 of our minutes would equal 1 month of millisized life. 8.5 of our hours will equal 1 whole year for a millisized life. 1 of our days will equal 3 years of millisized life. 7 of our days, which is a week, will equal to 21 years on a millimeter-sized life scale. Now, just 1 of our years will equal 960 years in the macro on millimeter-sized scale of life. On the micro in the millimeter-sized scale of life. So 1 of our years is equal to almost 1,000 years on the micro in a millimeter size of the life. And this is the same with all levels of life, meaning the level of life that's under millimeter size is micrometer. In micrometers second, you have microseconds, and they are 1/1000th of a millisecond. And a millisecond is 1/1000th of 1 of our seconds. Then you have nanoseconds. This would be like atoms. And theirs is 1/1000th of a microsecond. And a microsecond is 1/1000th of a millisecond. And a millisecond is 1/1000th of 1 of our seconds. So the table I just broke down to you with simple math. All I did was do the math for y'all in advance. But you can do it yourself. 1/1000th of 1 of our seconds and break it down. What it would equal to. So I basically just did the math. 1 of our seconds is equal to 1/1000th of their seconds. So therefore 4 of our seconds will equal to 1 hour. And about 4 minutes or 16 minutes of their time. And I went on from there forward. So it's just simple math. If you're a mathematician, then you could simply do this. But my point is this. 1 of our years is equal to 960 years on a micro level of life in the millimeter size. Because on the micro level of life, you have millimeter size, you have micrometer size. This will be the size of cells and things like that. Then you have nanometer size. This will be atoms, things like that. Then you have meter size, which is us. So it's a simple thing you have to grasp. 1 of our years is equal to 960 years, which is close to 1,000 years on a millimeter scale of life. So now if you apply that to the macro, it would be the same for us in comparison to the macro. So now if you're looking for a son to be born after a meteor shower, it would be about 900 years of our time that this would happen, meaning the star would be born. So the meteor shower would happen then if you see a rainbow, then that means a conception happened. Now, if you count about 900 years from that point, somewhere around 900 years, a star should be born. And it's a very deep thing. So now I want y'all to think of, in the Quran, when the Quran says, one day in the sight of Allah is equal to 1,000 years. This is what that is saying. The difference in times on the different scales of life. So it's a simple thing. It's just like in the Bible. When the Bible says, one day is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is one day to the Lord. That's 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 8. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 8 says, one day is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is as one day to the Lord. So basically, I know we always be hearing stories about the angels and how their lives is so much more larger and longer than ours. And one of our years is equal to 1,000 of theirs, and what is that? And you never seen an angel in real life or somebody live that long, so you're like, what is that? Well, that's what it's breaking down. The different scales of life and the difference in the time. So you have to understand, time for you is different for an ant. An ant is millimeter-sized life, meaning one of our seconds is 16 minutes for an ant. So the scale I broke down for y'all, you can apply that to an ant. So now you have to understand, time has to do with movement. This is what time is, movement. So the amount of time it takes me to take one step, which is about 2 feet. Let's say 2 feet is one step. You know how long it'll take an ant to travel 2 of our feet? So this is the difference in size, and it breaks down to the difference in space. So it only takes you 1 second to step 2 feet, but it'll take the ant about 16 minutes to cover that distance. So this is how you get milliseconds to seconds. So now you have to grasp, 960 years, 1,000 years in ant time is only like a year to us. So the same is on the macro. A planet's time, or what we call a planet, is not the same as our time, but it's the same. But the size is different. So you have to grasp, the planet is nothing more than you, meaning you're a world to the micro life within you, and you live within the earth. So you're nothing more than the micro life within the earth, and the earth is the same thing as you, a living being. Now that living being is something micro inside of the life that it's in, which is a star or a solar system. And it acts as an organ or a piece of the innards of that being, just like you act as an organ or a cell, organisms to the being that is the planet you live in. So it's all the same things you have to grasp, but you just have to grasp time perspective. So now the next time, so you figure in April, when the lyrid shower happens, 5 of our, let me get the breakdown for y'all. 1 week, so you figure 1 week, 10.5 minutes for us. 1 week is 21 years, so you figure after a meteor shower that happens on April, maybe about 21 years from then, you may see a rainbow. And that rainbow will be representing that meteor shower that happened 21 years ago. And the conception just happened. Now, I know to you it seems like a lot, but you have to grasp the time difference. It will have only been 7 days. Conceptions don't happen immediately. Sometimes they take anywhere between 1 to 5 days. So you figure, on the macro, that's like 20 of our years. And then, about 900 years after that, whatever star's born, all of that process was connected. And it seems like lifetimes away from each other, meaning the meteor shower, to a rainbow 20 years later. to 900 years later a star being born, and you like, man, all of that shit ain't connected. It is. The same with us. To the microcells within us, you know how long it takes for you to be born? That 9 months for you is about 1,000 years in cell time. So grasp how deep that is. 1,000 years for you to be born in their eyesight. So it's a deep thing you have to grasp. But to you, it was all just a 9-month process. Same with the macro. But this is what a meteor shower is. It's a very, very important event because a conception can happen. So this is why the ancients were so heavily, deeply influenced into observing meteor showers, because they understood what that was. A life is about to be conceived on the macro. For some reason, it seems like the ancients understood that the life was in the life and up above was the same thing as below. They kind of understood what the stars and things up above was. And they understood that the reason we see it that way is because of our size. So our perception of something so big is just, you can't perceive it with your eyesight. But they understood, like, those are living beings too. This is how you got the constellations and all that, because they kind of, for some reason, understood this. In today's times, for some reason, it seems like we don't understand that planets and suns and things up above are living beings just like us. People, animals, sea life. Every star you look up and see, this is what you're looking at. You see it how you see it because you're so micro in comparison. You cannot perceive what you're seeing. If a microcell comes out of me right now and it's standing right here by my throat, all it'll see is my Adam's apple looking like a big planet. Mind you, it's so much more to me than that little bulge. But the cell can't perceive nothing. The sperm cell is too small to see all of me, no matter what. Whether it's in me or out of me, it can't see all of me. It's too small. And this is how we are. When we look up above, what we see, we're never going to see it properly because it's macro in comparison. So it's a deep thing you have to grasp. But the main thing I hope people can grasp is the sperm is the spirits. This is the base foundation of all knowledge, and this is how you can truly begin to grasp things and understand the divinity of the life. Reach for what's ahead of you, meaning you don't have to worship your parents and your mother. You become the same thing they are. But you have to know what's ahead of you through those that came before you. So it's a matter of acknowledgement and understanding the life. You don't have to worship nothing. You become the same things you worshiping. You just haven't gotten there yet. But it's just a matter of acknowledging and understanding. They made it. You may not. But it's a beautiful thing. So it's like the million of sperm cells that rushed out the man. One of them made it. The rest of them are sent it over in another way. But it's a glorious, beautiful thing, and you just have to grasp the ascent of the life. And the reason gods and star systems and constellations is always broken down in terms of living beings is because that's what they truly are. And it's a deep, deep thing. It's your main man, Solace.